Good morning, everyone. This is Teacher Vin, and I will be your new student teacher for today. Today, we'll also be discussing a new topic titled Types of Context Clues. So, before we dive into our main discussion, let us first check what are our objectives for today, or what are the questions that we should be able to answer by the end of the discussion. So, first is what are context clues? Second is why are context clues important? And third, what are the types of context clues? So let's go to the first objective. What are context clues? So context clues are hints found within sentence, paragraph, or passage that a reader can use to understand the meaning of new or unfamiliar words. So if you are reading a book, reading or taking an exam or a test, and you encounter an unfamiliar word, what you do is you look for hints within the same paragraph, the same sentence, to help you understand what that unfamiliar word means. Most of the time, if we have the luxury of time and if we are able to, we pull up our dictionary, we pull up our phones to look up the unfamiliar words. We to look up the unfamiliar word in the internet. But when you take exams or when you take entrance exams, civil service exams, board exams, what you don't have that luxury anymore. So what you do is you pull up. I mean, what you do is you look for context clues within the same sentence or paragraph that could help you better understand what the unfamiliar word means. And this would help you better answer the exam or the questions that you are taking. Okay? So next is why are context clues important? Of course, they are important because they are hugely important because their comprehension and effective usage leads to academic success. They can increase vocabulary, reading comprehension, and make children, you guys, better readers. So I am also one of the people who uses context clues in almost every single day. Now, how do I use it? For example, again, just like what I mentioned earlier, when you are about to take your exams, tests, majority of the time, or it is already a basic expectations that you will encounter an unfamiliar word or words. So instead of cramming about what that word means, and since we're not able to look up the word or the unfamiliar word in the internet or check the dictionary, what we can do is look for context clues. Me, I'm not really a fan of reading, but I'm a fan of is really watching movies. Now, when I encounter unfamiliar words in the movie, I actually wait for one character to actually explain what that word means, so I would understand what that word means. And by doing so, I'm able to understand what the characters are talking about. Now, if there are instances wherein I cannot, or there are no, or there were no characters who mention the meaning of that specific word, what I do is I look up the word in the internet or in my dictionary. But during exams or tests, what I do is I look for context clues within the same sentence. Majority of the time, teachers or authors would really include context clues to help students or test takers or exam takers better understand the questions or better understand the paragraph or the sentence. Okay? So, this is also how I improved my vocabulary and reading comprehension. It's because, again, you are interested in a specific word, interested in how that word is used in a sentence, or how that word is used in our daily lives. So, after knowing the meaning of that word, it would be stuck in your mind, and you would sometimes use it in occasionally that would really be helpful in terms of expanding your vocabulary. Okay, so next is what are the types of context clues? So we actually have four types. One is definition, two synonyms, three antonyms, and four examples. So what are Definition. What's the definition of definition in terms of context clues? So it is where the author provides a direct or explicit definition of an unknown word in the sentence. So simple. It gives you, or the author would already provide you, a dictionary meaning of the unfamiliar word. So here are a few signal words that you can use as identifiers that the author is using definition as their context clues. So number one is we have are, are called, are known as, is defined as, means, refers to, commas, dashes, and parentheses. So again, here are these are a few identifiers that you can use to determine whether the author used definition as their context clues. Okay, so here are a few examples. The ancient Chinese used the abacus, a device with movable beads that can be used as a calculator. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one, but it's like it's like uh, a small device that you can use to calculate things. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this since you are pretty young, but during my time when I was still young, I still saw people use this. Most of the time, Chinese businessmen or businesswomen who use abacus as their calculator. So they were really, really fast in terms of using the abacus. But again, the unfamiliar word here is abacus, and the author in this sentence provided us with the dictionary meaning of abacus, which helped us better understand what abacus means. Okay, so example number two, Martha is the curator, a person who is responsible for looking after a museum's collection. So in this sentence, we now know that when you say curator, it means it is the person that is responsible for looking after a museum's collection. So again, it helped us better understand what the sentence means, and at the same time, it helps us understand what the unfamiliar word means. Okay? Good. Next is we have synonyms. Synonyms in context clues are is where the author uses a word using the same or nearly the same meaning as another word or other word or other words in a sentence. So again, when you say synonyms, it has almost the exact same or similar definition or meaning of the unfamiliar word. So here are some signal words when you see the words or, that is, in other words. This is already an indicator that the author is using synonyms as their context clues. So here are a few examples. Miguel was very loquacious. He was really talkative. So I myself am not familiar what loquacious is, but the author in this sentence gave us a synonym of loquacious, which is talkative. So by adding that into the sentence, we are now able to understand what he meant by the sentence. So when he said Miguel was very loquacious, he meant Miguel is talkative. Okay? Next is we have example number two. Carnivores or meat eaters are at the top of the food chain. So again, carnivores is the unfamiliar word, and the synonym of carnivores is meat eaters. Okay, so again, just looking for a similar or almost a similar word or words of the unfamiliar word. Okay, next is we have antonyms. So this is the opposite of synonyms. So this is where the author uses another word or phrase that means the opposite of an unfamiliar word. So again, the opposite of synonyms. So instead of looking for a similar meaning with the unfamiliar word, you look for an opposite meaning of the unfamiliar word. So here are a few signal words that you can use as identifiers. The words but, however, although, otherwise, unless, instead of, on the contrary, on the other hand, while, and unlike. So when you see these words, a majority of the time the author is using antonyms as their context clues. Okay. So here are a few examples. We have while Lewis is hardworking, his indolent brother spends most of the time watching TV or sitting around with friends. So in this case, the unfamiliar word is indolent, and indolent means lazy, which is the exact opposite of hardworking. Next is we have the gentleman was portly, but his wife was thin. So again, uh, uh, when you say portly, or in the sentence, portly, the opposite of portly is thin. So that could mean portly is or means chubby or fat. Okay. Lastly, we have the type of context clues, the fourth one, which is examples. So the author provides examples or additional explanations or summaries to help you understand an unfamiliar word. The word is cleared up by giving an example. So here are a few signal words that you can use. The words for example, for instance, including, such as, specifically, and to illustrate. So again, when you see these words, these are identifiers that the author is using examples as their context clues. Example number one, Paula was suspended from school because of several infractions of the rules, including smoking in the bathroom and dressing improperly. So the unfamiliar word here is the word infraction. And for us to better understand this sentence, the author gave us examples like smoking in the bathroom and dressing improperly. Example number two, the archaeologists found different amulets, such as a rabbit's foot and bags of herbs. So when you say amulets, the amulets is the unfamiliar word in the sentence, and the author gave us examples like rabbit's foot and bags of herbs for us to better understand what he meant by the sentence. Okay, and that concludes our discussion for today. So just a quick recap of what we discussed. We again discussed what are context clues, why are context clues important, and what are the types of context clues. And again, thank you for joining our video lecture today. What I want you to do right now is go to your Google Classroom and answer week 5 exercise. You will have up until Sunday to answer the exercise. Okay? That's it. Again, this is Teacher Vin, and thank you so much for joining our video lecture. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.